and I'm really excited today to share with you what we've done on camera on 855. And you don't have to lug these big cameras around anymore, and that's because the ISP that we have in the Qualcomm device rivals the image quality that you can get on a DSLR. So let's take a journey inside of a camera. So the things that you shoot, the light bounces off of them and goes through the lens array, and then goes into the image sensor. The image sensor is connected to the ISP. ISP opens an image pipe, and that image pipe is connected to the color image sensor to give you great looking color images. We also have other things on chip, like you've heard about earlier today, the CPU, the DSP, and the GPU. And we start a new image pipeline. That pipeline gets what looks like a black and white image, but in reality it's really a depth map. And with the depth map, we can do really interesting things like determine what's in the background and what's in the foreground, like a person. You can combine these together to actually get a depth map plus a color photo to get a really great looking portrait photo or bokeh effect. So I'd like to announce for the first time ever that we have the world's first computer vision or CV-based ISP. We can do things now like depth sensing at 60 frames per second. We can do 4K HDR video with portrait mode or video bokeh. It doesn't matter if your camera or your subject is moving. And again, we can discern the difference between the background and the foreground. What we can also do, you can replace it with something different. So you could fade it away and make it black and white. Or if you don't like that at all, you can change the background. And again, all of this is enabled by the hardware in the computer vision ISP. And so there's something in the movie industry called a cinematograph. And a cinematograph is the ability to take a video or movie and freeze part of it so that it's stationary, whereas the rest of it keeps moving. With the AI engine on Snapdragon, I can just touch on the person and they stay still while the rest of the image keeps going. So I'd like to talk about power savings as well. So these are our targets on 855 to be 2x or 4x lower in power consumption than before. We've used an image file format for a long time called JPEG. I think it's been more than 2 decades now we've used JPEG. But on Snapdragon 855, going to support HEIF. On 855, we'll be supporting this. Going forward, on future devices, we'll be supporting all of these different features for the file format. Cameras now will take those pictures simultaneously, but today they're saved as separate files. So with the HEIF format, all of these can end up in a single file. So you don't have to choose later on which one you want. Talking about video, 4K HDR capture. We introduced this in 845. For the first time on a mobile device, we'll be supporting HDR10+. So I'd also like to talk about power savings in 4K video capture as well. Previous generation on 845 were 30% lower power for this use case than 845. So in closing, here's all the features on the Snapdragon Spectra 380 ISP. You won't believe it's from a smartphone device. It's really amazing.
$140 billion is the overall gaming industry. And mobile gaming is more than half of it, $70 billion, 586 million. That's the number of mobile gamers in China today. Our partners realize that, Qualcomm realizes that, and then we'll continue the journey of entertainment.
First, Snapdragon 855 leverages the performance of the Adreno GPU, the 640 GPU. Next is a new graphics library. It gets games closer to the silicon, which means 20% lower power and advanced graphics capability. Next, physically based rendering. You can see what the game clip looks like with PBR turned on and off. Now let's talk about in-game color.
World's first on-mobile HDR10+, Dolby Vision. Super smooth 120 FPS viewing. On top of that, we will also be supporting ultra-sharp XR video at 8K in any 360 videos. And now, we move to the third pillar of entertainment.
Our industry is nearing an inflection point. At the cross-section of this inflection point are resolution and bandwidth. This is our current broadcast at 60 frames per second, and it looks pretty good. But I want to pause to point out a few things that we want to perfectly recreate. Notice the lack of resolution at 4G bandwidth. But at 5G, you can see how much sharper the image is. With 5G, the power of Snapdragon, and soon to be released high-resolution VR headsets, our fans will be able to see our content as clearly as they see the real world. Soon you'll be able to move forward and backward, in and through, and actually get up and walk around in live video content. We've also been hard at work in the lab on the next frontier, augmented reality.
We thank you very much for joining us in Maui in this day 2, and we can't wait till you have 855 handsets in your hands early next year. Thank you.